and welcome to a little speed building flat picking lesson. I wanted to share this because I get a lot of people asking about building flat picking chops and building speed and technique and this style. And bluegrass lead guitar it's a pretty fast style to play. In general, we play a lot of 16th notes, and a lot of times these tempos are, for sure above 100 beats a minute. So it requires a good bit of technique to play this style. But on top of that, I still get a lot of people asking about building speed and building technique and all that kind of good stuff. So what I wanted to do today here is show you something that I like to practice. This is something I try to practice every single day, and it just kind of helps me to keep my flat picking chops in shape. It also helps me to build a little bit of speed at the same time. So it really is just one lick. It's one lick, and then what I'm going to do is as I move up to faster tempos, I just shorten that lick to kind of just acclimate myself to playing at tempos that are a little bit faster that I'm comfortable playing at. So by the way, if you would like to get the tabs for this lesson, just hit the link down below and I'll send them to you. But let me jump in here and just show you this lick, the full length version of this lick all the way through here, and it is going to go like this. So one more time, just a little more up to tempo here. There we go. Okay. So that is the lick that we're playing there. So I'm just using alternate picking through that. And there's a couple of things that I like about this lick. Number one, I like that almost all of the notes are picked notes in this, except for the very end when I get to. So that little kind of Tony Rice sound in at the end to do a pull off, slide. But aside from that, all of those notes are picked. And I also like that it goes from the 6th string through the 1st string. So our hand has to, our picking hand is forced to kind of cover the range of these guitar strings here. And I guess, or another thing that I like is it's just a cool sounding, very usable bluegrass lick. A lot of times when we're talking about, picking exercises and that kind of stuff, a lot of the things that we practice are not, they're the only thing we use them for, is for, those kinds of little stretches like that, or stuff like, or if you're doing, that kind of stuff, which is great for your, it's great for your hands, it's great for oiling the machinery here, but they're not ideas that you're necessarily going to use in a tune, whereas this lick is very usable in a wide variety of bluegrass tunes. I mean, it sounds like something that, Cody Kilby or Jake Workman or Brian Sutton or maybe even Tony Rice would use. So that's what I like about this lick here. So one more time we'll do. So all the way through there. So I want to get this out of the way too, because I'm inevitable. This is another question that I get a lot, and it's the old, brace or don't brace, or do you play with your fists closed or with your fingers out? Do you use downward pick slanting? Are you using economy picking and all that kind of good stuff? I really think that the most important thing for you to do is to find what is the most comfortable and to find what works for you, because we're all wired differently. You can watch a lot of, you know, different guitar players, and their picking hand looks different. You know, the way Tony Rice played, you know, looks different from the way they say, you know, Jake Workman plays. So you have to find what works for you. But one of the things that I like to keep in mind when I'm playing a lick like that is I want my hand, whether I'm, you know, bracing down here or whether I'm on the bridge or whether it's just kind of floating right here, I want the grip on my picking hand to be loose enough to where... So do you see how whenever I get up to the first string right there, my hand's kind of like this? So it's loose enough to where it can kind of move up and down the bridge like this. What I personally try to avoid is I don't want, whenever I get up to the first string, for my picking hand to be doing this. And the reason is because that produces unnecessary tension and it restricts my picking hand's range of motion, okay? So again, however you're doing it, just try to keep your picking hand loose enough to where it doesn't restrict your picking hand's range of motion and it doesn't produce unnecessary tension in your picking hand. Because if you get that, you're going to get the, you know, that really staccato kind of choppy sound, and that's not what we want here. So again, the main thing is find what works for you, but then try to minimize tension in your picking hand and don't restrict your hand's range of motion. So perfect with that, and by the way, you'll see other guitar players who totally break that rule, and that's okay. But anyway, just some thoughts that I wanted to throw out there. So anyway, what I want you to do with this lick, once you learn it, is I want you to find whatever tempo it is that is kind of your breaking point tempo, the tempo that you can play that, the fastest tempo that you can play that lick all the way through at, and you can play it cleanly and in time. I'll kind of show you where that is for me here. So now, don't worry about you know, if that's a lot faster than where you're at, no problem. Just find where that is for you. That might be 40 beats a minute. That is totally okay. I work with students all the time and we're doing fiddle tunes at 40, 50 beats a minute. That is totally okay. Just find the tempo, again, the fastest tempo that you can play that cleanly and in time at, okay? So that's where I want you to start. And again, whatever tempo that is totally okay. Now, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take the same lick, but I'm gonna shorten it just a little bit, okay? And that's gonna go like this. I want you to kick that tempo up at least 5 beats a minute, preferably 10. And I want you to try to just play that lick at, again, either 5 or 10 beats per minute faster than you were playing the full length lick at. Here's what it sounds like for me. So again, I'm just kind of showing you where I'm at here, but don't get intimidated by that. Find wherever that is for you. Maybe your breaking point tempo on that full length lick was, say, 50 beats a minute. Fine. Kick it up to 55 or 60 and play the shortened version. Okay, so now let's add another variation here, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten that lick a little bit more. I'm going to do... Again, same ground that we've covered, but now I've just shortened that full length lick even more. Okay, again, just using alternate picking through that. All right, so now from here, I want you to kick, again, either that drum track or that metronome up another 5 to 10 beats per minute from where you were with that second lick, and try practicing that shortened lick at that tempo. All right, so for me, that'll sound like this. Okay, so it's getting pretty ridiculous here. But again, and I know I've said this, but I want to reiterate it here. Don't worry about, you just find wherever that is for you. It does not matter where it is. But now I want to kind of bring all this together here, because with that first lick, okay, if you can find your breaking point tempo, find that tempo, the fastest tempo you can play it at, again, cleanly and in time. And if you'll start from there, but then after that, kick it up a little bit more and play the first shortened lick, and then kick it up a little bit more and play that second shortened lick. Now, what you're doing is you're acclimating your brain and your hands, which are, obviously very intricately connected. You're acclimating your brain and your hands to playing at tempos that are faster than you think you can play at, because I promise you what you'll find, a lot of this stuff is mental. And I've been doing this for a long time, and a lot of this stuff is mental. All right, y'all, I was having some issues on my other camera, so I'm just going to wrap up here shooting this on my phone. So what I wanted to say from here was, yes, a lot of this stuff, weirdly enough, is mental, but there's obviously a physical side that goes along with this as well. And so what I like to do with each of these licks, it's really one lick, but there's 2 other shortened variations on that, is, I like to put in a bunch of reps on each one of these. With this first one, I find my breaking point tempo. I like to do that about 30 times. You don't have to do it 30 times, but the point is you want to be doing it, you want to be doing a lot of reps on this and doing it consistently. And then I'll do that other variation, again about 30 times, and then the other one, again, and I'm kicking that metronome up about 10 beats a minute as I'm practicing those. So I'm putting in a lot of reps, I'm doing that every day, and I'm pushing up the tempo as I'm playing those shortened licks right there. So anyway, I hope that you'll be able to incorporate this into your practice routine. And, just think about it. I promise if you start doing this stuff every day, like you're finding, like the fastest tempo that you can play that full length lick at, cleanly and in time, and then you're pushing the metronome or the drum track up and playing those other 2 shortened ones, and you're doing a bunch of reps on those, and you're doing that every single day, like I promise you're going to build speed, you're going to build chops, and especially if you stick with this over time, like if you start doing that, imagine where you'd be in a year, imagine where you'd be in 2 years. I know a lot of times people don't like thinking that far ahead, but if you can just start making this stuff a habit, and then just get into the flow of it and really start to enjoy it, and then stick with this stuff over time, I promise you'll really start to develop some speed and some chops and all of that other good stuff that we're playing, or that we're chasing in this style of guitar playing. So anyway, I just wanted to share this with you here because it's something that I like to practice, something I like to do to push myself every day. And again, if you'd like to get the tabs for this lesson, just hit the link down here below and I will send that to you. Anyway, thanks for hanging out today, and I will see you next time.